So, how do you feel when you learn that India has become the fourth largest economy in the world after surpassing Japan? I know it is obviously a reason for taking pride and feeling joyous. After all, India has become the fourth largest economy in the world, right? But as long as we try to see this picture from the nationalist point of view, I think each of us would definitely see this as a matter of celebration. But when we turn out to be critic on the same matter, then the picture might look little more grim, which might not be acceptable to many of us. Now, neither you nor me are the economist or have any expertise in this domain. Therefore, my entire discussion will be based on one of those famous revolutionary philosophers of the 19th century, Karl Marx, and we will try to take references from one of his creations named Das Capital, where he elaborately discussed about capitalism, labor, exploitations, and surplus labor. And we'll try to figure out how we should do evaluation of this current economic progress to present the clear and the transparent picture to all of us. So let's begin this video with this intention. Now, as I told you, that Karl Marx elaborately talked about capitalism and labor and exploitations of labor. Therefore, it's really imperative for all of us to take a look on this part and see how we could connect it with the current ongoing situation of the Indian economic progress. Karl Marx says that labor only creates value. Therefore, he can never become or own the wealth. Now, this is really a remarkable statement and a very big statement for all of us to understand the subtle aspect of it. So, when he says that labor only can create value, which means labor has the power to create something out of any raw material which may be used for certain purposes, but the value he creates after giving his labor or after serving his labor, he never gets the same amount of wages from his labor, and therefore he is a little bit pessimistic about it. Now, let's try to understand it with one example. Let's say a man who stitches 20 shirts a day, and for this he is paid 300 rupees. Now, when all these 20 shirts are rolled out in the market for the purpose of selling, then the owner earns 20,000 rupees from all those 20 shirts, which means every shirts count for around 500 rupees. Now, have this evaluation and the difference between the earning of the labor and the earning of the capitalist, and therefore this gap of income between the labor and the capitalist is basically termed as the exploitation value, according to Karl Marx. Now, the same formula, which is exploitation theory, we need to apply to understand current economic growth or the progress of this country. Now, recently one data released, and it revealed that India has successfully surpassed Japan, becoming the fourth largest economy in the world, holding of wealth around $4.19 trillion. Now, how do we have to see it? This is really an important question for clear picture about it. Now, as we talked about Karl Marx's views on capitalism, as it is very clear that it is only handful of people who earn a lot of wealth, whereas the other side, which is the largest population which is divided into this labor work, only earns the very minimum part of this whole earning. Now, my words may not be impactful as long as I don't support any evidence to prove this very idea of Karl Marx. So when you go into the picture and try to collect data, you might be shocked Why? Because top 1% of the population earns 23% of the national wealth, whereas the rest earns the remaining portion of the wealth. Confused? Okay, let me share one more data. The annual average income of 1% of the population is 53 lakh, compared to 1.3 of those comes from middle class people, and 71,000 annually that comes from below middle class section of the country. To add up more, in 1991 it was estimated that 10% of the total population held 30% of the national wealth, which has now become 60% in 2024. Now, can you see this big difference in the income of these three sections of population? It reveals Karl Marx exploitation theory, and it completely justifies it. I don't say that we must not celebrate India's economic progress, but at the same time, we need to look at it more critically. If one section of the population continues to grow their income at the cost of other, then probably it is not a perfect deal for the overall growth of the country. And this is what we have to notice and bring about it before people, to address it so that major policies or rightful actions could be taken to minimize these inequalities. When Jawaharlal Nehru presented his objective resolution of preamble, where he talked about social, economic, and political justice, it was Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar who really introduced the term justice, where he said that justice must be construed as removing social, political, and economic inequalities. Only then it could be justified. So, how beautifully Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar did this part, and ever since it has become the part of our Indian Constitution. But does it reflect through the actions of government is a question that we must throw to the government. This is what I wanted to share in this video. Till then, take care. Bye bye.